Hello, I'm Aurora Davidson, CEO of Amerigo Resources, and I think our stock should be part of every growth portfolio. This may sound strange coming from a company with a dividend yield of more than twice the yield of the S&P 500, but I will show you why you should think this way too. Amerigo is about growth now, immediate growth in your return on invested capital. There is no waiting, low execution risk, and low uncertainty. I think our time of growth is more important to you as an investor than future production growth or earnings growth. Why do so many investors love growth stocks? Because production growth is expected to lead to higher future earnings. That's why there are higher earnings multiples on growth stocks. The market is always looking ahead. So simply put, growth stocks are a story about the future, with the bulk of the investment gains coming in the future. The problem is that the future is the riskiest place to be. Why? Because of uncertainty. On the other hand, Amerigo is a story about now. Almost all the uncertainty is in the rearview mirror. We're already at a profitable final production stage, and the return on invested capital for Amerigo investors has grown significantly and steadily. For Amerigo, the amount of copper we have to process is virtually limitless. We are turning copper into cash and putting that cash into investors' pockets as quickly as possible. As copper prices continue strengthening on fundamental scarcity, we expect your return on invested capital growth to accelerate. We recently paid out a performance dividend to our shareholders. That first performance dividend was more significant than one of our quarterly dividends. And of course, that performance dividend significantly boosted the annualized yield to shareholders. Notably, that performance dividend proved how quickly we can convert rapidly rising copper prices into additional cash for shareholders, cash for personal return on invested capital. Over the next few months, I will show you why Amerigo is the best growth stock, one that consistently grows your return on invested capital. It's a story about the advantages of our business plan compared to other copper producers or developers. This story has a great ending, so let me jump right to it. All copper growth companies are working to get to where Amerigo already is. They are trying to get to where they can return money to investors. But first they have to develop their copper assets successfully. Then they must pay off creditors who financed building that asset. If a copper company is just starting, it will take 16 years to finish developing an asset. Yeah, on average, it takes 16 years to get a copper asset from discovery to production. 16 years until they can do what we are doing now. 16 years is a long time, almost a generation by definition. What if we shorten that time horizon to a time frame that is more reasonable to investors? How about 10 years? What could happen to you as an Amerigo shareholder over 10 years? A lot of good things could happen. This includes dividends in your pocket every quarter, dividends that can grow as copper prices grow, and dividends you can use to offset inflation or to reinvest and put even more money in your pocket. This is the core of the return on invested capital argument for Amerigo shareholders, and I'll show this to you with a simple spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is not official future guidance for you. It's better than that. It lets you pick a future copper price scenario. Then the spreadsheet gives you our best estimate of your personal return on invested capital over 10 years. It is not a guarantee, but it will get you to the ballpark. The spreadsheet is on our website, amerigoresources.com. You can see what the future could look like for you as an Amerigo investor. I am confident you will see the merit in defining growth as growth in your return on invested capital, not production growth. And that will make it clear why you should choose Amerigo as your growth investment in the copper sector. We have no peers in the copper space, and our potential performance is tremendous. Amerigo provides investors with the end goal of a growth stock, but that's it now, not in 10 years, not in 16 years. In fact, we started delivering the end goal to investors over 12 quarters ago with the initial quarterly dividend under our capital return strategy. So here is the first part of my message for copper growth investors. You are told that production growth will provide you with outsized gains when you sell your stock. But for that to happen, several low probability events must occur, and that sequence of events will happen over a long period of time. That is just the nature of the beast in trying to build or expand a copper project. Finally, if and when a company reaches its targeted levels of growth, there will probably be a significant amount of debt on the balance sheet. The payments on that debt will need to minimize the return on cash flow to equity shareholders until debt levels are significantly reduced. The chances are that it will take many years for that to happen. For a copper investor, the return on invested capital on this type of growth comes from one thing: the market sentiment when you decide to sell your stock. It is a market outcome. Contrast that with the scenario of investing in Amerigo. Our growth is here right now, and I think we proved that with the recent payment of our first performance dividend, which was made possible by only 1 quarter of rising copper prices. Amerigo's capital return strategy leapfrogs all the uncertainties associated with growth stocks. For over 3 years, we have been standing on the goal line that other copper growth stories are trying to reach someday. Because of this, our investors already enjoy a tangible, growing, personal return on invested capital that investors in other copper growth stories will wait years for. They must wait while our investors methodically pocket the gains from rising copper prices, which is happening in real time right now. Over the next few months, I will continue to illustrate the superiority of our growth story. As copper prices rise, and we think they will continue to rise, our investment proposition will only strengthen. Amerigo investors enjoy the positive impact of higher copper prices now, not at some theoretical point in the future, and there is a big difference between the two. Please download the spreadsheet. It's eye-opening. Whether you're a long-term or a short-term investor, you will see that Amerigo's immediate and methodical return on capital beats a future growth scenario. Amerigo is not a speculation on future growth. It is a growth vehicle for now and for the future. As an Amerigo investor, your return on invested capital is increasing as we speak, and that is why Amerigo should be the centerpiece of every copper growth portfolio. I look forward to speaking with you again.